conscious, you being conscious, let's use different words so that there is a distinction. Right now, let's say you're aware. I'm just replacing the word conscious, replacing the word conscious with being aware. You're aware. In the yogic sciences, we call this prajna. You are right now prajna. If you fall asleep, you are not conscious or you're not aware. Let's use the word awareness to make a distinction. But beyond intellect, this intellect, how it functions is operated by what we are identified with. Depending upon what we are identified with, accordingly the intellect veils itself. Right now, people are fighting for nationhood, people are fighting for religion, people are fighting for race, people are fighting for whatever they believe in, simply because they're identified with it and in their intellect, this says, this is the way. There are no two ways about it. Two groups of people or two individuals, when they're quarreling, both of them believe this is it, otherwise they won't risk their life. When somebody pitches their life for something, you must believe that it matters to them and they believe that's it. Unfortunately, it is just that it is your identity which makes you use your intelligence in this form. So, there are various dimensions of memory which plays out through this identity. Beyond this, there is an intelligence which is unsullied by memory. This is what we refer to as chitta, and generally that's what I would understand as consciousness. You being aware is different, consciousness is different. What is the nature of this? Where does this come from? As I said, I have strived for a whole lifetime to remain uneducated. It's not easy. Try and see. Try and see how your parental influence, your cultural influence, your religious influence, your whatever else is around you doesn't play in your mind at this moment. Try and see. Whichever way you try to think, it'll work because your thought works from data. And data has come from all these sources. To be able to simply be here without allowing the data to play up in your mind, it takes a lot of work. So from that context, I'm saying, what we are referring to as consciousness is that which is the very basis of our creation. Well, somebody may call it God, it's up to them because they're trying to personalize that in their life. Because they can't relate to anything which is not in a human form, they're saying that. But there are so many people of Indian origin here, they have man god, they have woman god, they have cow god, they have snake god, they have monkey god, they have every crawling, creeping, every kind. Because according to wherever they were living, they made that into their god. Essentially, what they are looking for is personification of the source of what is happening. Because we cannot explain this source, because logically we cannot conclude, the only way is to experience. How will you experience? What are the different ways to experience? There are four aspects in yoga. This is called as karma, kriya, jnana, bhakti. What this means is, these are four dimensions of your existence. You have a physical body, so through action, you can realize certain things. You have an intelligence. Through your intelligence, you can realize certain things. If you realize through your action, we call this karma yoga. If you realize through your intelligence, we call this jnana yoga. If you realize through your emotion, we call this bhakti yoga, yoga of devotion or emotion. If you realize by transforming your inner energies, we call this kriya yoga. These are the only four things you can do no matter what you do, whether you do religion or you do intellectual stuff, you do education, you do devotion, you do whatever. You can use your body or your mind or your emotion or your energy. This is all that's happening, these four things. All these four are pathways. But at the same time, is there anybody here who is just one big body and don't have a mind or don't have an emotion or energy? No, we are a combination of these four things. Why are we so different? Because we are a unique combination of these four things. In one person, the body may be dominant, in another person, their emotions may be dominant, in another person, their intellect may be dominant. Each person has a different mix of the same things, but these four things are the possibility of knowing. So what we are referring to as consciousness is that aspect of creation which is intelligent but unsullied by memory. Without memory, it doesn't have an intent. It doesn't manifest. Without memory, it doesn't have a direction, it's just there. If it finds little memory, it finds expression. Oh, where is the proof? Well, I am the proof. Because if you want to prove everything with logical steps, as I said, logic is the foundation of our living here, but foundation is not the place to live. So, first of all, if we separate what is awareness and what is consciousness, I think a lot of these different opinions will go away. About a miracle, well, those who want to enjoy their life, appreciate life and really experience life, they will look everything from a magical eye. Those who want to dissect life, they will look at it from a logical aspect of life. It's not a question of right and wrong, it's just two different ways of doing the same thing.
As we come to the end of this video, I invite you to just sit with yourself for a moment. Not to realize, not to judge, not to try and remember everything that was said, but simply to be here gently, quietly, fully. Sometimes we listen to something so profound and the mind immediately tries to make sense of it. It wants to recognize, compare, and turn it into knowledge. But not everything is meant to be grasped mentally. Some things are meant to be allowed, like a soft fragrance that settles into you without effort. Awareness and consciousness, these are words we hear often on the spiritual path. Many people spend years trying to understand them intellectually, yet the deeper truth only begins to open when we relax the need to figure everything out. What if right now, instead of trying to do something, you simply stay present with your breath? What if the most important thing is not to collect more information, but to become just a bit more available to what is happening within you? You don't have to force consciousness. You don't have to sit in fear, wondering whether you are doing it right or wrong. Just by sitting quietly, just by becoming a little more sensitive to what is happening inside you, something begins to shift. And maybe that shift is not dramatic. Maybe there is no instant magic, but slowly, the way you breathe, the way you respond, the way you feel life, it changes. You begin to notice that there is a space within you that is untouched by your thoughts. You begin to sense that there is a depth within you that does not rise and fall with your emotion. You begin to see that there is something more vast than the mind, something that just is. Let that recognition arrive naturally. There is no hurry, there is no race to reach somewhere. In fact, if you stop trying too hard, life begins to open up in ways you never imagined. For a moment, allow your shoulders to relax. Let your breath deepen just a little. Feel the gentle flow of life within your body. The pulse, the warmth, the aliveness. None of this requires awareness as a mental effort. It is simply happening as a part of your being. If you can stay with this simple presence just for a few seconds, just for a few breaths, that is enough for now. Remember, everything unfolds slowly for the one who is patient with themselves. Nothing is lost, nothing is wasted. Whatever touched you today, let it settle in silence. Carry it not as a conclusion, but as a living possibility. And if at any point in your journey you feel confused, unsure, or overwhelmed, just return to your breath. Return to this moment because life is always happening now. Thank you for being here, not just as a listener, but as a seeker of your own truth. As always, do remember this is not a summary of Sadhguru's word. These are simply my own interpretation of the deep wisdom he imparted. Kindly keep them separated and do not misunderstand. Thank you for joining, and we will see you tomorrow. Until then, please take care. Namaskaram.
चंद्रचूड शिव शंकर पार्वती रमणा निनगे नमो